Welcome back to the Table Rush Talk Show, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal growth. I'm your host, Misha Zvagensov, and today's guest is Nathan Gwilliam, serial entrepreneur and the visionary behind PodUp and PodAllies, where he's revolutionizing how podcasts grow, scale, and monetize. With 3 successful exits and a track record of building audiences in the hundreds of millions, Nathan's here to show you how to turn your podcast into a powerful business engine. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on today, Misha.
Indeed. So I just want to dive right into it. You have built a couple of businesses along the way, a few businesses. You've had, I would say, successful exits, correct?
I have. I've built and sold 3, and this is number 4 I'm working on now.
Amazing. And give me in 3 minutes or less, maybe 5 minutes or less, what you're doing with PodAllies and PodUp, and then we can talk about maybe what you did before.
Sure. So when I was selling that last business, I had a mentor who made me a promise. He said that if I published every day for a year, I'd be financially free. And I know you have the same mentor as well. And I decided to take him up on that. And I started a podcast with audio and video and social and blogs and websites and all that, and published every day for a year. And it sucked. It was so hard to do that. And I got about 3 months into that, and I realized that I needed more than 30 different technologies to do this. And those technologies cost almost $2,000, and they were integrated hardly zero. They were integrated not at all, almost none. And editor, going back, let me reword that. They were hardly integrated at all. And they just took way too much time and effort. And one day in frustration, and this is more than 5 years ago, I said to one of my coworkers, somebody's going to create this all-in-one podcasting solution, kind of like Shopify brought all the different technologies together to create an e-commerce venture. Someone was going to create the all-in-one solution to allow entrepreneurs and business owners to create a venture around a podcast and bring all of the technologies together into one place. And I realized someone was going to make $1 billion doing that. And that was my aha moment. I realized that somebody should be me. And so I went and hired a bunch of talented developers, and we started building this. And now 5 years later, and more than $5 million having gone into this, we now have a software solution called PodUp. It has more than 50 different podcasting tools integrated together into one platform. We're recording this episode in the PodUp recording studio. Then it can be edited in the PodUp editing studio. There's 17 different AI-powered tools that just make your podcasting workload so much faster and easier and less of a headache. And it has tools to help you grow your show and tools to help you monetize your show. Anyways, when we rolled this out to market, we had a lot of businesses that started coming to us and CEOs that started coming to us saying, okay, I know I need a show as part of my marketing strategy. I know we've got to do this, but I just don't have time. Is there any way I could record the episodes and then pay you guys to do everything else? And so that's where PodAllies was born. And we created a podcast kind of done for you production and marketing studio. And we now do that for clients, have businesses and CEOs that allow us to be partners with them in producing their shows.
Amazing. I can't wait to dive into the tech, all the stuff you're building, have built, dive into some of that. But first, I think what's so important before people get bogged down in that minutia, which I think is amazing, and I love it. I'm like, yeah, the toys, what can we do? How does it make it better, faster, cooler? Those sorts of things. But tell me about the power of having a podcast. And before you answer that, we were talking pre-record, and I've been on your podcast. We had a pre-call before that, and we've gotten to know each other, and we were laughing earlier, having fun. You were early. We were talking about the foibles of life, and you off the cuff said, man, if you can get CEOs to come to become friends with each other, that is going to grow their business, which is in essence what we're doing. So speak to that, the power of podcasting to grow your business.
Yeah. One of the most powerful benefits of having a podcast is every CEO wants more influencers to promote them. Every CEO wants to work with more of the influencers and industry leaders in their space. And so then they go and apply to be on shows with all these influencers, and they get rejected by, the vast majority of them. And the secret is, if you have a show in your industry and you go invite all the influencers onto your show, and you don't charge them anything, you promote whatever they want you to promote, you just give back and build a relationship with them, get them to know you and like you and trust you. If you do a good job, a lot of them are going to invite you on their shows, and a lot of them will then be willing to work with you, and you'll be able to do deals with them. Influencers that you'll be able to have relationships with. So the secret is that podcasting is one of the best networking tools on the planet. It just opens doors for you that are so much harder to open in other ways.
That's so good. Uh, I heard a couple things. One, it's a way to, well, I guess to open a door really quickly without necessarily having to look, like, follow, do all
Yeah.
this sort of social media bonding that everybody's telling us to do.
That's right. That's right. We were
Yeah.
talking about one of the other benefits as well. It's finding your voice. Um, a lot of times a CEO is going to ask, do I have what it takes to be a podcaster? Am I an expert enough in this niche? Am I good enough at being a podcaster? And we were referring to Russell Brunson earlier, and I think he's one of the best onstage presenters I've ever seen, one of the best digital marketers in the world today. But if you look at the first times that he spoke on stage, it's pretty embarrassing. He was horrible on stage. And he became good at it because he put in the reps. And one of the beauties of podcasting is it allows us to put in the reps. And if you're not an expert now and you don't think you're good enough at podcasting now, just do it, right? And if you interview industry leading experts for a year, you will become an industry leading expert, and you will find your voice, and you will become good at podcasting. When I started my podcast, I felt that I had to script almost everything that I did, and it was horrible. I go back and I look at it, and it's so cringy. But now I didn't prep for this interview at all. I get on and I can talk to these topics and feel very comfortable about doing it. I was in a church congregation about 3 weeks ago, and the speakers that were assigned finished early, and there was still 10 minutes left in the meeting. And one of the presiding church leader called me to this stand with no prep time to finish off the meeting. And I did it, and I felt very comfortable doing it, and I wasn't nervous at all doing it. And I owe that to my podcast, right? I can get up and speak in ways that I never could have done before.
Yeah. To say you're an expert in podcasting, I would say is an understatement. You spoke to Russell Brunson. There's that quote out there. He says, "Hey, podcast every day for a year, publish every day for a year, and you'll never have to worry about finances again or money again," or however he says that. Both of us went on that journey, and we were talking about that on your podcast. And I was like, "Yeah, well, the monetization part, maybe not so much for me, but I have found my voice. I'm confident. All these sorts of things." I said, "Tell me about your experience." And you said, "Well, gosh, I did it for a year and I sold that business that I built off that podcast for $5 million."
Well, it was a little bit different than that, but it was
Okay.
close to that. By the end of that year, I had $4 million of net worth. That was a direct result of that podcast. And so what happened is I got into that podcast, and I got 3 months in, and I realized the opportunity for someone to build the software. So I started building the software, and then I went and raised capital. And so then my valuation of the company that was created as a result, I had more than $4 million net worth from that.
Well, that's amazing and that qualifies. So is that did that business lead to PodUp and
Yeah.
PodAllies?
Yeah, that became PodUp and PodAllies as a
Okay,
result
cool.
of that.
All right, amazing. So you've got two softwares, or two. You've got PodAllies and you've got PodUp. PodUp is your full done for you service, including the PodUp Studio. Am I saying this right? I want to make sure that.
You have it backwards. So Pod
Okay.
Allies is the done for you, and then Pod Up is the software, the platform.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about. Boy, I'm torn on which one to go with first. Let's talk about Pod Allies and the done for you, because I think that that's pretty exciting. Soup to nuts, CEO is going to reach out to you in an industry and say, "Hey, I want to grow my network. I want to grow my leads." How is somebody coming to you?
Yeah. So we went and found a YouTube influencer named Mallory Everton, who's really funny. She's a comedian. And we hired her to do some videos for us. And she did a series of videos. We ran them on Facebook, and we get ridiculous ROAS from those ads. And so from Mallory's videos, she's Joan of Arc, and she talks about getting out of the dark ages of podcasting and, catapulting yourself to success, that kind of thing. It's really fun what she did for us. And so we run those on Facebook. In fact, next month we're doing another 20 to 25 videos with her in a shoot. So they've done so well. We're going for round two. Um, and so she did those videos. We then send them from videos to sales funnels, and then we go from sales funnels to, it's a high ticket funnel, and we use a Calendly booking script, and then we book our sales team, and then we have people that take those sales calls and convert those people into customers.
Amazing. And who is ending up in that funnel? Like, who is your customer? Who's your
Yeah.
target market? Say it how.
Almost 100% of our customers would give themselves the title of either entrepreneur or CEO. We never sell to the chief marketing officer. We always sell to the CEO, because that's the person that really wants it. That's the guy that's going to be the face behind it.
The videos that you're creating with, what's her name? Tell me it again.
Mallory Everton.
Mallory Everton. What are they presenting as the value proposition where a CEO is seeing it and they're going, "Oh my gosh, I got to book an appointment."
So we have a continuum. Think of it like a line, and on this side of the continuum, for those of you that are just listening, you can't see it. On let's say the far right side of the continuum, um, we have people that have money but don't have time. And then on the other side of the continuum, we have people that have time, but they don't have money. So think of, like, on the far right side, you have a CEO that's leading a business, and his time is the scarce commodity. On the right side, on the left side, you might have a brand new entrepreneur that's just starting off, has hardly any money, he's doing it as a side hustle, and has time to give, but can't afford anything. And so on this, so we have different value propositions based on where they are in this continuum. And on that far right side, which I guess is the far left side if you're looking at my screen, um, on my right, if it's that CEO, the line that's working is need a podcast but don't have time, or want a podcast but don't have time. It's leading with time as being the commodity. You don't lead with money, you lead with time. And every successful ad that we've done is focused on time, on that side of the market.
So the CEOs that are seeing that time, they're going, "Yeah, I do want a podcast. I don't have time." They already know the value of a podcast, or so they're coming to you and they're saying, "Hey, help us start this podcast." And they're telling you why they want to start it, or
Yeah,
like, I'm trying to suss out the benefits here.
yeah. So when we get them on the phone, we do go through a series of benefits, kind of what's in it for me with them, and they care about influence. They love becoming an industry leading influencer. They want to grow their business. They want to grow their reach. They want to grow their following. They They want to build credibility. Credibility is a big one that we lead with. They realize that ads aren't working for them. Many of them, they're seeing much lower return on ad spends. Google's changed the rules. Their costs have gone up. 96% of people don't trust ads anymore. People don't trust what a business says about themselves. So these businesses are needing to market in much more credible ways. And they know what is working, right? Reviews are working, influencer marketing is working, customer testimonials are working. But you notice all of those things are marketing through the credibility of somebody else. It's not the business saying they're amazing. It's somebody else that's trusted that's saying they're amazing. And so they're trying to grow this credibility marketing strategy. And doing a podcast is a great way to do it, because you have all these experts on, and you become an expert, you become an industry influencer, you're giving them value before you ever try to sell anything to them. And they're looking at it as, like, businesses have one project that's doing SEO, and they have one project that's doing pay-per-click, and maybe they have a project that's doing influencer marketing, and they're looking at podcasting as like their next marketing strategy. Just like those other ones, they know they need to do this as part of their marketing strategy.
It's good. When I hear credibility, I know what my podcast has done for me credibility wise. I was at a funnel hacking live a couple years ago, and I was walking through the crowd. Have you ever been to a funnel hacking live? Russell
Yeah,
Brunson teaches.
several of them. I love it. The best trade show I've ever been, best conference I've ever been to.
Yeah, so much fun. So I'm walking through the crowd, and this was when after I'd started my first podcast. It had a unique name that garnered a lot of attention. But I'm walking through the crowd of thousands of people, and literally people are going, "You're the guy with the podcast. That's the guy with the podcast. You're the guy with the podcast." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible." The crazy thing was, even about that, is a huge amount of people had never actually listened to the podcast. How powerful is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that speaks to the credibility, but it sounds to me like the CEO that's starting it, and I'm still trying to get my arms around this as we're talking right now, is that the CEO is going, yeah, I want a podcast, but the main thing is credibility, relationship building. I don't really care if there's a direct ROI or return on investment of the literal podcast is like a top of funnel bring leads in kind of a thing. Am I
But a
saying that
lot of them,
right?
if they build a following, they do see direct ROI. It might take them a little bit. It might take them a year or 2 years to, build enough following for that. But a lot of them see a lot of return for their existing business as they build credibility and authority. There is a lot of revenue that can come as a result of that.
Yeah, well, and I'm imagining too that as you're building your credibility, you're getting a lift in your SEO, you're getting a lift in your pay per click, or all these other marketing strategies. As your visibility and credibility is rising over here, you're getting a lift across the board in your other efforts.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Or
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah,
you get a lift in whatever your core business is, right? If you sell pergolas and pavilions as a company, right? And you're doing a show about outdoor living, right? And outdoor entertaining or something like that, you're going to sell more pergolas and pavilions, right? It's going to happen.
yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of podcasters personally, myself, that start a podcast and then they go out and, in essence, find their target customer and bring them on to interview them, start to build that relationship. It's almost like a pseudo sales call.
Yeah.
Uh, are you helping start and grow those kinds of podcasts for entrepreneurs as well, or
Yeah.
no? Or you're yeah, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. You can do that. But you got to make sure you're providing value to the user. If it just is a sales call and it's really not giving enough value, you really won't get the followers, and long term, that's not viable. Whatever you do, every episode needs to provide great value. A lot of people think that podcasts are free, and so people don't pay anything for them. So they're not worried about providing value. But let's say it's a half an hour episode. People are trading a half an hour of their life in exchange for that episode. And you've got to give them enough value that it's worth way more than a half an hour of their life. And if you're not doing that on your pseudo sales call, then they're probably not going to come back. So you've got to figure out how you can still interview those potential clients, but give enough value.
Are you coaching on that, or are you generally trying to avoid that kind of a podcast model for people who are coming into your funnel and you're helping them? You're helping them. You're in effect creating their podcast for them. I mean, you're not the star of it. They're the host, but you're doing all the back end heavy lifting.
Yeah, we do a lot of coaching, and I would definitely not dissuade them from that as long as it just comes down to value. And you can have potential customers on there or even past customers on there and get testimonials from them and give lots of value. I was coaching someone last week that's actually doing 4 podcasts with us, and they've been in business for a long time and they've helped a lot of people and they have a lot of clients that would give them testimonials. So we're strongly encouraging them to get on and have those customers come on and tell their stories. And it's in a niche where there's some pretty cool stories that come from their customers. And having future or past customers on definitely could be done right if you are in the right industry and you go the right direction. Just got to give value.
I love that. Anybody watching, listening, hearing this after the fact right now, if you're going, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. I'd love to start a podcast. Have Nathan start a podcast for me, so I can, have an excuse to get my old customers on the line, have them tell their stories. It's making me look good. It's adding value. How is someone going to find you best?
Yeah. So if they're on the left side of the spectrum and they have more time than they have money, then go to podup.com and sign up for the software and you can do it yourself. You have 50 different podcasting tools integrated into one platform, available for one really low price. Save you a ton of time and effort, money. If you're on the right side where you're maybe running a business, you have some funds, you don't have a lot of time, you don't feel you got the time to do a podcast, I recommend you go to podallies.com and schedule an appointment with one of our podcast strategists, and we can help you record your episode, give you all the tools and technologies and training so you can record your episodes. We can even book your guests for you. We can we can prepare show notes for you. We'll edit, produce your videos. We'll write your blog posts. We'll create your social posts, publish, syndicate, 40 different services that we provide. And you can get that for all one very reasonable fee. Because we have the software and because we have a team in India, I think we can do, I don't think there's anybody on the planet that can do all of what we can do for the price that we can do it.
Awesome. And they would go to PodAllies and book an appointment.
Yeah.
Would PodAllies.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. Good. All right. 2 things in regards that I want to talk about. One is the testimonial piece, and I'm just taking a note here. And then the other is ads to promote, to drive traffic to your show or to grow your audience. And I want to make sure to ask that. So when I got started 5 years ago in the whole online marketing game, I really quickly saw that the power of the customer testimonial. And again, Russell Brunson uses his customer stories better than anybody in the industry, man. He weaves them out throughout and has video clips and all these things in his presentation. It's magical to watch. But I saw tons of entrepreneurs out there who did not have their customer testimonials in line for their funnels. They didn't have the customer stories in line, all these things. So I started going out and getting video testimonials for businesses. And I created my customer story arc framework, some other fun tools and things. But my point is, if somebody wanted to start a let's say you have a customer who goes, hey, I want to start a podcast. I want to go reach out to all my old customers. It's going to be great content. We're going to tell stories, especially if it's in a market where those stories are super fun to listen to. What if you had a third party interviewing that customer? So Like it's like the Pod Ally show, right? The Pod Ally show hosted by Misha, who's interviewing your customers. What do you think about something like that?
Yeah. I I don't know if it needs to be hosted by a third party, although you would do a phenomenal job. I'm sure you'd do a much better job than me. Um, but I think companies interviewing their customers, I don't think they need to hire anybody else. I think they usually companies can hire can interview their customers and get the stories out of them, because it's really not about them. It's really about the customer and their story anyway. They just need to know the right questions to ask.
Absolutely. And there's a few key ones. And you find the charming person in your company who wants to interview people, and you
Yeah.
could do it that way. I was just yeah. Anyway, you answered my question. I was hoping you're gonna say, that's a great idea. but but anyway, where just hey, editor, edit that out.
Okay. Is that a service that you're going to offer for companies?
Maybe.
Oh, shoot. Editor, take out that question and answer completely. I'm so
No.
sorry. I didn't
No,
understand that's where you were going.
no, it's okay.
If you want to ask
Totally
me
okay.
again, I can tell you that that's a great idea.
Hey, you know what?
It is a great idea
It actually is a great idea.
because a lot of businesses don't get around to it. So if you just
Yeah.
do it, okay, ask me the question again and we'll try again.
You know what? We're not going to edit out the fail version. We're going to leave it in. But let's say this. Let's say I wanted to enter. Everybody gets it. We'll move on. We get it. Unless I'm going to give you 2
well,
seconds to answer the question.
well,
Go ahead.
but truthfully, there are, even though businesses can do it themselves, there's a lot of things businesses can do themselves, including producing their own podcast, right? But the reality is, a lot of businesses, all their employees are busy doing other things, and the CEO doesn't have time to do it. And so even though a business can interview customers and get testimonial videos, 99% of companies aren't doing it. And so if you provided a service where you did it for the companies and you got it done, just for the same reason they hire me to do podcast production and hire you to book them on shows, right? There is a value there in getting it done, and getting it done at a high quality, which you would definitely deliver.
Absolutely. And anybody watching, listening, if you're looking for something new to do in your life, you could run with that idea, especially if you think you're charming, personable, can suss out the good, the good stories. Shall we move on? All right.
Yes. Sorry, I flubbed that one for you originally.
Isn't podcasting fun?
Yeah, it actually really is.
It is so much fun. Um, all right. So ads to promote episodes or to promote your show or things like that. I heard you say that you will do that in your soup to nuts program via PodAllies. Talk to me about that process, how that works. What kind of lift could I anticipate if I had you do that service for me? Sell me right now.
Yeah. So when I interview people on my podcasting secret show, I I usually ask them what are their secrets to growing their show, and usually people give me one of two answers. They either say they do paid ads, or they say they book themselves on other shows. And more people say, of the really successful podcasters, they say it's from booking themselves on related shows. They feel that's the best strategy. But in the early days, when you can't get on the big shows, you don't have the credibility. Ads is a great way to get started in that process. And we've gotten, I mean, that it feels arrogant to pat myself on the shoulder, but we're comfortable enough with our ability to deliver these services that we now offer guarantees. So each of our different packages have a guarantee of how much traffic we will deliver to them. We call them engagements. So it's how many audio downloads or listens, how many video views, how many blog views, those kind of things. And so one package, guarantees, the smallest package guarantees 5,000 engagements a month. We have packages that go all the way up to 50,000 engagements a month that they can get. So even a brand new podcaster that's just starting off can kind of launch themselves into looking credible and being credible, like actually having real people in there. These aren't bots. These are real people in their show, if they go with these done for you marketing services.
As of this recording, what does it cost somebody to get 5,000 engagements to 50,000 engagements?
so so they're part of complete packages. So so realize that they're not just getting the marketing piece. They're getting 40 different services in the package, right? They're getting guest booking, and they're getting video editing and blog post creation and social promotion, and all of these different services together. So the lowest level packages you can get for about $2,000 a month right now is the promotion we have going on right now, and you get 5,000 engagements as part of that with all of the other services. And then the higher level package is about $8,000 a month, and you get 50,000 guaranteed engagements plus all of these other services that come with it. With that package, you get a mobile app that we make for your show, and there's so many other things that are included in there.
Oh my gosh. So, 2000 a month, anybody watching, listening, if you knew about you might already have a podcast and you're going right now 2000 a month plus I get some advertising plus I get all this other stuff. That's a great deal. I can tell you I'm going, wow, that's a great deal. 8K for, 50,000 engagements, all this other fun stuff. What else is somebody getting for $2,000? I mean, this is just walk me through it. Like someone calls you up, they're like, oh, I've already got a podcast, or oh, I want to start a podcast. 2,000 is going to get you this. This is what's going to be left for you to do.
Yeah. So we'll build their website. There's a series of upfront services. So we'll help them create a logo. We'll make their logo for them. We'll build a website for them with that logo. We will, because we've built the technology, right? We've got the podcast building tool. Like we have like the Wix of podcasting, so it's not that hard for us to build a website, right? Where normally that would cost someone maybe 3 or 4 or 5 grand, right? It's not a heavy lift because of the technology, and it integrates with all these other things you do. So logo and website will help you do trailer and intros and outros, and um, there's so many things we do for you there at the beginning. Set up all of your channels and get them integrated with the technology. Just that heavy lift to get you over the hump and get you launched. And then on a monthly basis, we do a whole bunch of things for you. From booking your guests to editing your videos and audio to writing your blog post to creating your social posts to publishing you out there to dozens of different channels. The different packages, you get different layers of this. You get published to more places or whatever. Um, but these are some of the different services we do. Marketing services like SEO. We do a newsletter for you where we connect it to a list and we send your episode out to all of your subscribers. We help you build a lead magnet. So on each of your episodes, you can encourage people to come to your website and get something free from your site. And in exchange for that free thing you're giving them, they give you their email address and permission to market to them. So they're joining your list. So we help build your list and give you the tools to build your list. And then we send out to the list. We find that the people in this business model, their email list becomes one of their most valuable assets. And so we put a lot into helping them grow that. We do other marketing tools as you get higher in the packages. We do more paid ads for you. We do more SEO. We do more link building for you. Just the different things that you need to do to get your show to be successful.
Amazing. You said guarantees. What are you guaranteeing somebody? A lot of fun. A, B, what?
Well, the guarantee is the amount of engagements, right? So we guarantee you get 5,000, 15,000, or 50,000 engagements a month. And if you don't, we will double the difference the next month. So let's say we promise 5,000, we only give you 4,000, then we owe you 2,000 the next month extra in addition to what we owed you. Or we pay you cash. There's a cash kind of penalty for us if we don't deliver it, but we haven't had to pay anybody cash yet. So
Amazing. And really quick engagements, is that
like
a
video
download?
views, video views, audio downloads, audio views, blog views, those kinds of things.
Amazing. So much fun. Any favorite customer stories of somebody who came through your funnel and you took them from here to here?
Um, Eileen Noyes is someone I was on the phone with her yesterday, did a video call with her yesterday. She's one of our clients, and she's the wife of a very successful professional athlete. And I won't say his name because they're divorced now, but um, and so she's created a show for the wives of professional athletes. You'd think it's a really small niche, but she is building a great business around that niche where she's got all of these other revenue streams. She's got all of these other from and she's building out more, from books to now coaching to, mastermind to events to she's building a cool, so like when all the husbands go to spring training, she's trying to get all the wives together, to pamper themselves and learn and get educated and stuff. She's the other side of that equation. So it shows that even with a small little niche, you can build a great little business. It kind of feels like when I started my first business in 1996, the internet was brand new, and it felt like you could almost pick any niche of the internet and just claim it and go do something, and you could build a great business, And it feels like podcasting is that today, where you can go pick a niche. Like, where else can somebody that, you know, I have a friend of mine who has he loves to garden and he loves emergency preparedness, and he's built a show and he has 200,000 followers now, and he's making a fortune off of this, just sharing with people his gardening stories and his preparedness, the things he's already doing. And one of the last times I talked to him, he found this little battery backup unit. And so he just recommended this in an affiliate model to all of his followers to put under a table somewhere and plug into the wall. So whenever your power goes out, you can plug things into it, right? And you can you have power. And I think he made over $1 million in a little over a month just selling this to his followers in an affiliate model. Like, where else can somebody, a guy that loves gardening in rural Idaho, um, make $1 million in a month or two, right? You just can't do it. I think it feels like what was that called? The land rush, right? When you could just homestead and you could pick your land. And if you just worked your land, you would own it. It feels like podcasting that. If you're just willing to be consistent, you're willing to put in the reps and you're willing to put in the time and build an audience and a following and deliver a good product to them, it feels like you can do something that I don't know has ever been available other than maybe the .com bubble. I don't know that it's ever been available in the history of man.
Yeah, so cool. Um, Two great stories. Thank you. Quick, uh, two main reasons people bulk at starting a podcast. I think you referenced one earlier. It's, well, I don't have a voice, or I'm going to look funny or sound funny, or I don't have the tech, or what. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but what's the, why are people bulking, bulking or scared to,
Yeah.
get, to get
They
going?
think they're imposters. They think they're not an expert. They think no one will listen to them. They think they're not as good as Joe Rogan at communicating. Um, but the two answers to that is, if you put number one, do an interview show if you're feeling that, and invite those experts on the show. So you're bringing their expertise on and you're interviewing them. So you add the expertise. Number two is, if you do that for a year, you will become one of the industry leading experts in your niche. And number three, if you do it for a year, you'll find your voice. You'll get really good at it. Just be willing to put in the reps. It's like an athlete, right? You're not an elite athlete the first time you try to do something. You have to put in the reps.
Love it. So good. People get nervous about the return on investment at all, or by the time they're, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That is a concern, and that's why we love working with companies that already have an existing business, that already have an existing product line or service line. Um, if you're an existing business, podcasting is great because it's one of the easiest ways to monetize a podcast is selling what you already do. If you do not have an existing business, then the best, and this is still a very good strategy, is become an influencer, right? Build a following, get a whole bunch of people to know you, like you, and trust you, and then you find great products that you can promote into that niche. Just like my gardening friend does with his battery backup units, right? And he finds other products and services and just regularly recommends them. And once you have that trust, it's almost like you can prescribe to that audience instead of having to sell to them.
I love that. What a great analogy or comparison, or however you want to say that. You are literally prescribing to them and they're going, yes, that's the prescription I needed. Thank you. Calling out their problem, giving them their solution, they take action. All right, everybody watching, listening, you're going, man, Nathan's awesome. Go to podallies.com or podup.com and you can see all the fun stuff that Nathan is up to. You spoke to adding value to an audience. And to me, that is such an elusive idea or term or whatever. It's like, it's so easy to say add value, but the execution of adding value, I think, is very challenging. Would you say that we have added value to my audience today?
Well, probably I didn't, but you definitely did.
You crushed me, actually. My one business idea, in addition to all the other stuff, it's actually probably good. I'm like, oh yeah, stay the course.
I'm going to have to redeem that. I'm going to have to hire you to do testimonials for me.
There we go.
Why don't you give me some information about that service, and I will become your testimonial about why that's such a great service.
There we go. Talk to me about adding value. And you can be honest. You can be like, actually, no, I don't believe that this is adding value to the audience, or I don't know. Give me your perspective. Talk to me. So anybody watching and listening, because I see it over everywhere on the internet, on Reels, TikToks, this, that, and the other. It is so easy to say, add value. Everybody says, add value. It's like, well, did I add value? Did we add value, Nathan? In your honest estimation?
I hope so, but I'm probably biased because it's me talking. So I hope that I'm sure they're all probably going to respond and say, well, it was value except for that Nathan guy. But
no, come on. You are experienced enough in the podcasting world where you could say, you know what? You asked great questions. You sussed out information in me that I feel like would serve somebody who had an interest in podcasting, or I don't know.
Yeah, I hope I did.
You hope you did. Come on. Give me 30 seconds.
I'm curious to hear what your audience has to say. It probably doesn't matter what I have to say.
All right, I'm going to let it go. All right, this is a great place to hit stop. But before we do, inevitably, when I hit stop, I'm like, oh, I wished I'd have said, I meant to say, I wished I'd have asked, whatever. What's going through your head that you want to say before we hit stop?
I think you did a great job. I can't think of any additional questions. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's been amazing. Editor, we will stop there. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.